Wow. I'm really, really excited today. I get an opportunity to interview a friend, a brother, mentor, an inspiration to me. The one and only Mr. Tony Terry. What's up, young man? How you doing?
Good to see you,
Good to see you. Oh, man, you looking good, man.
Come on, man.
Look at you, look at you.
I couldn't figure out what to wear today.
Okay.
I got the note, it was business casual, so
Okay.
I said, let me do a little business on top and a little
casual on the bottom. And you killed it. You killed it. It's so you.
Yeah.
It's so you, man. Look, man, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and giving me something that I can never give you back, and that's time.
You know it's my pleasure, man.
I know, but we've been in the trenches for a long time together.
Yeah.
For a long time. So I know a lot of the questions I'm going to ask you, but our viewers don't. So let's start from the beginning. Where did it all start? Where did the music start, Tony?
It started in a little church in a small town, Hamlet, North Carolina.
Wow.
At my grandmother's urging to get up and sing when I really wasn't sure. She knew that I had a voice before I knew. And so she encouraged me to do it. And interestingly, we just sent her home to glory last week. Well, actually, about a month ago. Seems like last week, but it's been about a month now.
Okay, we're going to talk about her because I know, because you, every time, and with social media friends as well, so I know, I remember going through that journey with you.
Yeah.
But what was that first song? Do you remember?
Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle of the air.
Oh.
How it goes, I don't remember. I do remember the song.
You remember the song, right?
Yeah.
Wow. It was just, you know, when I get an opportunity to hear you, I always enjoy you. We've been on the stage together.
A lot.
So let me ask you a question. So because you have your own style, and you've had your own style for years, how did you develop the style that you have, the musical style and the image style?
Well, I've always walked to the beat of a different drummer, and I think that musically, I'm probably the result of all of the people that I grew up studying. I know that. You know, Michael Jackson, Aretha Franklin, Shaka Khan, The Whispers, Peabo Bryson, Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder. The list goes on and on and on. You know, and I grew up. You know, I was a kid that got a record player. I mean, we don't even talk records anymore, but I got a record player every year, and I got new records, and I would just go in my room for hours and learn every nuance of every word, every breath of all the songs that I like. So I think that who I am today is just kind of a mix of all of that.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite that if we had to give you a favorite?
I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
I mean, because, you know, I have a whole lot of favorite songs, but no one favorite artist that just like does it for me.
Because your style is so unique, and you know, I always love it because it's not dated. It's really we can turn you on from the 80s, and we can turn you on in 2019, and that's powerful. That's a powerful. What does singing do for you? Like, I know for me, when I'm standing in front of the crowd and I'm doing poetry, man, and it just feels like I have the audience in my hand. What does that feel like to you?
It's a very powerful feeling, and we have to be careful with it.
You're right.
You know what I mean? When you have the platform, you have to be mindful of what you say. You have to be mindful of your attitude. Growing up at Duke Ellington School of the Arts, one of the things that our teachers would tell us is leave all of your issues at the stage door. Don't bring them onto the stage. So whatever you got going on, leave it there and pick it back up afterwards. When I get on the stage, it's humbling. It's awesome to watch people respond, you know, to what you're doing. You know, I wouldn't trade what I do for anything in the world.
And you know, you said something else that's key too. Be careful and mindful what you say now with social media, because we've seen so many careers die on stage.
Yeah,
because over great careers, but die right on stage.
Yeah. It's happening like right now.
Exactly right. It's happening right now. Right now. And you've managed, man, to have a 30. I mean, God, how many years? I mean,
well, since 1980.
Exactly. That's my point. So, so you've managed to have a 30 plus. We'll say 30. It's almost. It's flirting with. It's flirting with 40.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
But a very successful career, and people know your music, man. They still know when I'm with you.
Yeah.
You know, they still. How does that feel, man?
For a long time, I tried to get away from that.
Okay.
I didn't. You know, it was like I couldn't get away from it, but I wanted to be away from it because everywhere I go it was like sing the song or But when I realized how lucky I am to have music that's become the part of the fabric of so many people's lives. That really is humbling. And you know, that means that it's bigger than me.
It's that wedding song too.
Yeah.
Everybody want to hear it at the wedding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And thinking people always get married, so it's going to
I've been
outlive you.
asked to sing it at funerals, bro.
Oh wow.
That powerful.
Wow.
Yeah. And I thought, weird. But you know, the request came from a parent who sang my song to her child as a baby, and they sang it to each other. So when her child passed away, she wanted me to sing it, and it was very powerful.
Wow, at a funeral. I mean, because think about that. This song will outlive you.
Yeah,
You know, we're still singing.
absolutely.
We're still singing Luther. We're still
Yeah.
singing. You know, a lot of Barry White. A lot of the
Yeah.
the people who have transitioned. I love words. You know, I love words, man. I love words.
Yeah.
Words are so powerful. They breed life, or they can breed death into you. Lyrics. Where did the lyrics come from? Because you write all the time, man.
Yeah, but I didn't write that one. A friend of
Okay.
mine, Raymond Reeder, wrote it from D.C. And when he first played it for me, he probably got to the first, "It's for real what I feel when I'm with you." And I said, "Stop." When we were cutting it. When we were cutting it, I knew right away that it was a special, powerful song. And you know, there's a real interesting story about how it actually came to be, because once it was all recorded, I was signed to Epic Records,
Okay.
and it was time to choose the single, my next single, and I chose "With You."
Okay.
And the label did not think it was a good idea. In fact, they called me in for a meeting to tell me, you know, "Tony, we think only Stevie Wonder could get away with a song like this. So we want to strongly encourage you to think another way, choose another song." I wasn't really having it. I wanted that song. I was standing by it. So I guess in their attempt to teach me a lesson, they released the single, but without any
With
setup.
no promotion or anything.
No
Just-
promotion.
They wanted it to fail.
Yeah, no setup, and
Look
it
at
just
God.
started happening. It just started happening, even when I didn't know it was happening. You know, it was bubbling up, and then one day I get a call from Anita Baker. I just happened to walk by the phone as it was ringing, and the receptionist wasn't there, and I answered it, and it was Anita Baker, who was calling looking for me, and I didn't even know her. I was like, wait a minute, this can't be real. And we talked for a minute, and she asked me about why she hadn't seen a video for the song, and I told her that the label didn't think the song was a hit, and there wasn't going to be a video, and she was like, "Those people have to be out of their mind. I'm going to send you $50,000. I need you to shoot the video for this song." And I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me, right? First of all, I don't even think I'm talking to Anita Baker. I'm not even convinced of that yet.
Right.
Secondly, you're going to send me a check for $50,000 and we don't even know each other. So what do you want from me? She said, just concentrate on being great. Focus on being great at what you do. Don't even worry about paying me back. A couple of days later, the check comes. So it was real. I mean, she called Blair Underwood to direct it, which was his directorial debut. And if you've ever seen the video for "With You,"
Yeah, I have.
it's thanks to Anita Baker.
Right.
I called her my guardian angel, because had she not done that, it would not have been. It wouldn't have happened.
Wow, now that's some history right there. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm blown. So Anita Baker calls you, and I got 50,000 on this song.
Yeah.
You know, it almost reminded me of that Marvin Gaye song, "Hey, What's Going On," because I think that was a similar song that was not supposed to come out, and
Right,
it
it was
did.
shelved for a few
Yeah,
years.
for years, right? And some, wow. So let's kind of transition a little bit. We'll come back to the music, but so where did the acting come in? Because now, I mean, bro, you killing it, man. Every time you've been killing it for a while too, because you've been doing plays. Where did the acting come in? Where does that transition come
That's a good one. I'm a natural
Yeah,
actor.
right.
I had to come up with some good stories as a kid, and be convincing. No, I mean, I started my training at the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in D.C.
So that wasn't new to it. Wasn't really new then.
What, the school or acting?
The acting.
Well, I kind of stumbled upon it. Like, I knew that I could do it if I wanted to. And then I auditioned for a play. I forget which, it was Shakespeare. I forget which one it was. And I made it. And I wasn't expecting to make it. And so I was too scared to do it. I was like, y'all gotta be kidding me. And so I didn't do it the first gig that I got. But the second one I got, which was a high school production, Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope, a Broadway musical. I was cast for the lead, and it was, I had to sing and act, and it just felt like this is it. This is what I want to be doing. And from there on, I graduated high school in 1982 and never looked back.
Wow.
I've been working ever since.
So, the first play I remember was The Wiz. You were in The Wiz, right?
I was in a version of The Wiz.
The version of The Wiz.
Yeah,
The version of The Wiz, right?
In '96, I think
Right,
it was,
right.
with Grace Jones, and, Peebo Bryson, and CeCe Peniston was an amazing cast. Very
I
strong.
remember that. And then the
I
next
played
one
the
was
Tin Man.
That's right. That's exactly right. I remember that because I remember the promotion on that.
Yeah.
That was pretty hot.
It was great.
It was, man. I remember that.
It was one of the best productions that I ever saw. And not because I was in
Yeah,
it, but
I'm sure it had something to do with it. I'm sure it had a little bit to do with it. And then the second one was Cinderella.
Sisterella.
Sisterella.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That was also an interesting piece. I auditioned for. Didn't think I was going to get it, and ended up being cast as Prince Charming. Michael Jackson produced the play. And I've done a lot of things like that. You know, I claimed it. I said I wanted it. We were doing Car Wash the musical, and I wanted to play the lead. And you know, I'm in Atlanta, and all of it was happening in Hollywood. And I just said, I want the lead. Just said it. And then I made an audition tape, and like 4 days later, they called me and said, "We want you for the lead."
Wow.
I was like, "Come on, man, stop playing, man."
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, you know, yeah.
So, and who was in that particular? Because you were, that was a pretty powerful one too.
Sisterella. Amy Keys played Sisterella. Richard Pryor's daughter. Michael Hart did the music. And I think it had a life after Michael Jackson disassociated with it, because he did produce the version that I was in, but I think that he kind of let it go, and the show went on to travel in Europe and do some wonderful things.
Wow, and then we're going to talk. Let's see, maybe we should take a break, because the one that I really want to talk to you about is the one that you're doing right now. That's getting ready. That Malcolm X.
Oh yeah.
That's
Exciting.
The one. So I
Exciting.
think let's go into a little bit of it. What is that like right now? I mean, because you look like, one of my favorite movies, and Spike Lee did Malcolm X, and Denzel played it, right? And I always said that there should be nobody else should come behind Denzel playing Malcolm. He looked like, he looked like Dirty Red. He just looked like him. He looked like Malcolm. He had all of the mannerisms. Thought nobody should play it. Nobody should play it. And then I saw you. I saw your picture on it, and I saw the mannerisms and all, and I was like, but Tony can pull this off. So let's do this. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about that, okay?
Sounds good.
We'll be right back. This show is called The It Factor, and one of the things that I have made it a point to do is to talk to people who have that it, that special. When did you know that you had that it?
If you're going to be in any business, it would benefit you to get some education about the business that you're going to be in. A lot of us I jumped in without any business education. And I also jumped in without a lot of people around me that genuinely cared about me that would help steer me in the right direction. So I learned a lot of hard lessons. And so I think one of the most important things, well, there's two. Well, there's more than two. One, people like, how did it feel when this happened? I just felt, it just felt like the next thing that was supposed to happen. So, I was always too busy trying to be on top of my game than to be caught up in, all of the stuff surrounding what it is. I wanted to be good and be purposeful and to execute my job to the best of my ability. So, I don't, gigs for me are just that. They're gigs. If no matter what the platform is, it's work for me.
If you were telling some new artists, and I know they come to you like crazy, because I have poets coming at me all the time, telling a new artist and they're asking, what were some of the things that you would tell them to prepare to be successful? I want to talk about your cooking and your baking.
You don't want none,
All right, so we're coming back and we're going to talk about this Malcolm role. And because Malcolm, I really believe that there would not have been a Dr. King if there had not been a Malcolm.
Right.
Or the power. So why did you choose to play Malcolm? Malcolm X.
I decided to play him because, so many times I've been told I look like him, and I thought, okay, maybe, right? But then when they got me dressed, they cut my hair and put the suit and the glasses on, even I was like, yo,
It looked
you look like
You look like
Malcolm.
Malcolm.
You know, I'm saying to myself
And I
in
saw
the
you
mirror.
doing this, and I was like,
Right.
that was it.
How about this? How about this? So I did a photo shoot last year sometime.
Okay.
And maybe 2 of the pictures I did the Malcolm pose, all right? And, you know, not knowing that I was going to later get cast as Malcolm. And so I guess it was about a year later, and I got called for the part. I knew that I could do it, and I knew that I wanted to do it. And we went through my pictures, and I had this picture of me doing Malcolm.
So you didn't. The picture that we're seeing right now was not.
It was taken a year before I was
Wow.
actually cast as Malcolm. And when they saw it, it's like, this
is it.
How could we not use this picture? You look just like him. And I didn't even realize until we were in the scene and all caught up and that this is really powerful. I really look like him. I feel like, I feel his presence. Because we actually played, the piece is called Martin, Malcolm, and Me, and we played Martin and Malcolm as ghosts in a jail cell, trying to help this young brother figure out how he was going to deal with his circumstances.
I saw some of your live read.
Yeah.
That was powerful.
It was.
That was powerful. I saw your live read. So I mean, let me back up and say this. Let me clean this up a little bit. There would have been a Dr. King, but I think Malcolm helped the movement of that piece.
And it's interesting that they only met one time. Like they didn't really know each other. And that meeting was very superficial. You know, so they didn't really know each other. And we always associate Martin with Malcolm. And that's interesting because they didn't know each other that well. And
now the wives did. Malcolm, Meg's wife, and Martin's wife. You know, they ended up becoming very good friends. But you're right. They only met one time, and it was really short. So let's talk about this. You know, Miles Monroe once said, the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but the greatest tragedy in life is to be given life and not know why you're living. And it is no doubt that you're in your purpose. How did you know that you were in your purpose? What did that feel like?
Growing up as a singer, I never questioned it. Like, I never had to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. I just assumed that I was going to be making music. And so, like, the next thing that would always come seemed like the next logical thing to come. You know what I mean? So I was just always in it. And I think that I can be a bit aloof sometimes. But like, I know that this is my gift, and I see how my gift affects people, all right? And I know that it really, you know, my ego could allow me to say, look at what I'm doing. You
don't have an ego. You absolutely, and you could.
I know that it's God, so I have to say, look at what God's doing, because you know, when you're affecting people on a spiritual level, then you got to know that it has nothing to do with you.
I know that's right.
It's just your willingness to be a vessel, if you will.
Okay. So let's go a little bit further, because with that same thing, this show is called The It Factor, and one of the things that I have made it a point to do was to talk to people who have that it. You know, that special. When did you know that you had that it?
I don't want to say that I've always known it.
That's why you have it. That's why you have it, because I think anybody who can claim it don't have it.
I don't want to say that I've, you know, again, it's like, you know, people are like, what? How did it feel when this happened? I just felt, you know, it just felt like the next thing that was supposed to happen. So, you know, I was always too busy trying to be on top of my game than to be caught up in, you know, all of the stuff surrounding what it is. I wanted to be good and be purposeful and to execute my job to the best of my ability. So, you know, gigs for me are just that. They're gigs. If you know, no matter what the platform is, it's work for me.
So, if you were telling a new artist, and I know they come to you like crazy, because I have poets coming at me all the time, telling a new artist and they're asking, what were some of the things that you would tell them to prepare to be successful?
No, okay. In order to be a taxi driver, to get a hack license, you have to study and take a test. You know what I mean? To be a civil servant, you have to pass a test. You know, to be a doctor, you have to study. To be a teacher, you have to study. If you're going to be in any business, it would benefit you to get some education about the business that you're going to be in. A lot of us I jumped in without any business education. And I also jumped in without a lot of people around me that genuinely cared about me that would help steered me in the right direction. So I learned a lot of hard lessons. And so I think one of the most important things, well, there's two. Well, there's more than two. One,
take your time, go ahead.
You have to stay grounded.
Okay, right.
And if there's any church in you, you got to stay tapped into that.
I love it.
You have to stay tapped into. You got to get the education. If you're going to be in music business, you got to get some music business. You got to get the information, because if
you can take advantage of it if you don't.
People, it happens historically. It's happened so many times. We've heard the stories of all these immensely successful artists who end up broke. They're not taking care of their business. You know, they're trusting people, you know, to sign checks. I'm always looking over the person who's signing the check on my person. You know, who's watching the watcher? Ooh. You know?
Rewind.
Who's watching the watcher?
Wow.
You can't just you just indiscriminately let people, you know, take care of things and then just trust them, because people have motives. And
man, I got a bunch of stuff going through my head, man. I mean, you're killing it. So the business side, I mean, because I believe that. I think, you know, as a poet, when I started writing, I had to go back and start studying. I mean, there's a whole lot of work that you have to do. So when you're in the business side of it, I mean, what would you tell your younger self now? What would you tell your younger self about some things that you should have done differently?
Don't sign without reading. You know, and you know, in the beginning, well, the circumstances are different now. When I started, you know, record companies would, you know, present a big check. You know, and again, if you know, I didn't come from a lot of money. You know, I came from a 2-parent household. Dad took care of the family, made sure we had what we needed, but we weren't rich. And so, you know, to come in and, you know, get this huge check, you can see it there, and all you have to do is sign here, and nobody's saying, hey, look at this, check this out. Well, what about this? What about that?
Or the taxes,
taxes,
yeah, all that stuff that comes along with it. Yeah.
I was 19 and I didn't know any better, so I signed and I took the check. And you know, they were gaming me from the beginning. But then, you know, with experience and information come the questions.
Yeah, right.
You know, when I started questioning it, then I became a problem. Because now I know more than you think I know, or more than you want me to know. And now I'm shaking up, because I'm not just being an artist. I am paying attention.
Wow.
I am paying attention. So, you know, I made a lot of money. I lost a lot of money. I learned a lot of lessons. Fortunately, for me, I feel like I came out on the other side of all of that unscathed. I'm not jaded. I still want to work. I still have a passion for this craft, and I'm still working. What more could I ask for?
Would you consider teaching a class? Have you been approached about teaching a class on the business of music?
I would.
Or you need to do some seminars. I mean, I think it would be packed. I mean, because I remember we were talking off set about our friend Tommy Ford, and one of the things that Tommy did was he was constantly putting classes together.
Yeah.
On acting, have you ever considered doing something like that? And maybe
I have, but I haven't really given much energy to it. But it's absolutely something that I probably should consider doing.
Okay. I don't want to run out of time. There's a couple of things I definitely want to hit, and I want to make sure that we get them in. One is your grandmother. You light up, you know. Before she transitioned, you lit up when you were talking about her. Yeah. You still light up. Yeah. After her transition, you want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, my grandmother was my heart. I mean, my mom is my heart. My grandmother, you know, was very, very, very dear. She was very grounded, very spiritual. I always said if anybody had a direct line to God, she does. So when I needed to get a prayer through, I called Grandma. I called my grandmother. She was, I stood by her and learned how to cook. I stood by her, I learned how to pray. I stood by her and learned how to be the peacemaker in my family. And just before she transitioned, she called me. She had one of her children call me on video phone, and she wanted to tell me that it was me that she wanted to speak at her homegoing service, and that she believed that it was me that was going to bring our family at large back together. And I'm thinking, Grandma, why me? I mean, why are you? I mean, you have children, you have other grandchildren.
Why me?
And she said, because you're the one.
And so that's your mission right now. That's you're the glue to that family, to your family.
Yeah.
Wow. We got a couple minutes left. One is, I want to talk about your cooking and your baking.
You don't want to. You don't want it,
I want to talk about the cooking. I want to talk about the baking. I really do. I really want to talk about it. I saw some of the pictures. If I didn't know it was you, if I didn't see your name, I would have never believed that you did it.
Yeah, real men bake.
Oh yeah, real men bake. Real men bake. What's next? What's next?
Man, I'm open for whatever the universe has for me. But I am pursuing, working on some fitness snippets. We were going to do a full DVD. But I think I'm going to best serve it as snippets.
Okay.
Things to do in your hotel room, to stay fit, because we travel a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes we don't have time to get to the gym, but I still want to get a good workout in. And people think that you have to go to the gym.
I need that.
To get it in, but you can get a thorough workout at home with no weights at all. Just body weights, a towel, just different things that we can do. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm working on new music. I'm constantly working on music. I was just in the studio last night till about 3 o'clock. I was like, wait, I got an interview in the morning. I got to go.
Wow.
Yeah. I love what I do.
No doubt. We can tell.
I love it.
We love what you do. We love what you do.
I love what I do, and I don't take it for granted. I do. I've said it before, but to me, when I'm walking down the street and somebody recognizes me and I got on a cap, or I'm not really trying to look like me, but somebody recognizes me, it's like, wow, who sent you over here? My wife is like, you don't get how much you mean to people.
I think you don't either. I don't think and you've never, we've been, like I said, you've been in schools, career days with me. You've been, you've helped my foundation to raise funds. You have always been that dude. You have always been that brother, consistent. And you know what? I think I'm going to close it. You have always been what I heard. It is the responsibility of the conscious to make the unconscious conscious of their unconscious behavior. You've always been conscious.
Yeah.
And so thank you for your level of consciousness. Thank you for what you've given to the community. Thank you, the music that we can enjoy when you're either singing it live, or we can play it in our car, in our showers, whatever. You've always been on point, man. So thank you for taking the time out of your business schedule to hang out with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tony Terry.
Thank you for having me, bro.
Thanks for watching. Go to AIBTV.com/donate to support programming like this. Your contributions may be tax deductible.